Normally, when the holidays roll around with the WWE, towards the end of the year, Raw and SmackDown for at least the last 2 weeks of the year mean absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. These shows are virtually worthless to anything storyline-wise that's happening on television at the time until at least we get through the new year and that second week of January hits. Then WWE starts to roll out their push towards the Royal Rumble. One thing that I hate about both of these shows, and the same thing's going to happen next week with the New Year's editions of both Raw and SmackDown, that these shows being taped, you can physically see and hear the difference compared to a live broadcast, man. I know Raw and SmackDown SmackDown has been hit or miss. It's definitely the better of the two shows. Raw has been insufferable. It's a downright tragedy. We all know that. But I'm talking about the live atmosphere of the show. There is a clear-cut difference between the live and the tape versions of these shows to a point where even though Raw sucks so bad, it makes you appreciate when the show is actually live. I can't begin to tell you how much of a burden it is to get through these shows being taped. It comes off in such an unnatural way. It comes off in such a manufactured, forced way that it's downright terrible to watch. You physically want to turn your head away with what they do with the after effects or the editing post taping these shows. Piping in crowd cheers, watching the crowd physically do nothing. They could be standing there doing nothing, and all of a sudden you'll hear massive Rusev Day chants, or you'll start hearing "This is awesome" chants, and then you get a camera shot of maybe one or two different people doing "This is awesome." It was absolutely ridiculous last night how they piped in cheers during the Rusev Nakamura match, how they piped in Rusev Day chants, "This is awesome" chants. Shane McMahon, they piped in massive cheers for Shane McMahon and the Miz segment on Miz TV last night. It's awful. And it makes you appreciate when the shows are actually live, man. This is why to be honest with you, when SmackDown Live, before they actually changed to Tuesday nights and went to the SmackDown Live theme, when SmackDown was taped for all those years, I never watched SmackDown, ever. And this is the reason why. I can't stand these tape shows. I hate when they go overseas for the United Kingdom, and I love those United Kingdom crowds, but do you know how many different reports we hear about, how the crowd was just so energetic, and they were chanting this, and they were chanting that, and when you watch the live program that they put on at 8 o'clock on Monday or Tuesday nights, and they edit it during the day, you don't feel the energy, or you don't see the energy that was reported in the arena. And I have fans in the United Kingdom. I am told often when some of my subscribers head to those shows, "Oh, JD, what you watched on television, it didn't come off that way. We were so vocal in the crowd. This was clearly edited." They deleted some of the chants that we had, whether it be for Roman at the time or for Bayley. These shows feel so manufactured, man, and it honestly downgrades the entire experience of the show. Because, WWE, especially with these crowds, in Sacramento and Fresno, respectively, Sacramento had to sit through almost 6 hours of Monday Night Raw. I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. That is absolutely downright torture. I don't give a shit who I hate and how much I hate them. I would never send them to watch Monday Night Raw for 6 hours, man. That is some of the most torturous punishment I could think of for one person. That's how bad the shows are. It's awful. And then Fresno for SmackDown, which it was a little bit more easier to digest because SmackDown last week and SmackDown this week were much better than the last 2 weeks of Monday Night Raw. This was a little bit more easier to digest. You got 2 hours here and then maybe an hour and a half mixed in with the video packages and the promos that they did. Hour and a half, so about 3 hours, 3.5 hours of SmackDown Live. Not that bad. It's not that bad. But SmackDown Live last night, Christmas Day. I hope you guys had a great Christmas. Hope you guys got everything you wanted. I hope Santa was very good to you, whether you were naughty or good on his lists. If you were on his naughty list, oh well. You know, Vince McMahon was on his naughty list, clearly, after 52 weeks of insufferable television from Monday Night Raw. You know, but whether you guys celebrate the holiday season and celebrate Christmas, I hope it was good to each and every one of you. I hope you guys relaxed with your friends and family. I hope you guys sat down by the fireplace and had a nice cold glass of eggnog. So Christmas is over with. Now we got New Year's, and then we can really begin the road to WrestleMania, man. This is when the season is in full effect. Everything seems to slow down. Everything seems to die. Everybody seems to take days off from work and just wants to rest and relax. YouTube views are down. Viewership's down. Subscribers are down. Everybody's taking a nice little break. I can't wait to get back into the swing of things because it throws me off because I'm always going full steam ahead with everything, and I never stop for anything. So seeing the Christmas season come and everybody's just taking a break, and, you know, the content has to take a break because the shows are taking a break. You know, the schedules for the holiday are all fucked up. I'm doing SmackDown Live review on Wednesday afternoon. Normally when I'm getting ready for NXT, instead of doing it on Tuesday night, because Christmas was on Tuesday night, it's just all over the place, man. So I can't wait to get back into a regular schedule and a nice steady flow of just regular content going up when it's supposed to be. But SmackDown Live, I did watch SmackDown Live last night in its entirety when it was live on the USA Network. It was actually a very good show. We've seen a lot of good come out of SmackDown Live, and we're going to go over all of that today in the very, very late review for SmackDown Live on Christmas Day. If you missed my Monday Night Raw review on Monday night, that went up regularly. If you guys missed that, link will be in the annotation that you see in the top right corner of your screen. And if you watch long enough, you will find a wild beaver in the video. Somewhere within the video, you will see a wild Kevin Dunn appear. Get your Pokeballs ready. He is ready to be caught, but he's a feisty one. So if you don't watch all the way through, you might miss him. So that is in the annotation that you see in the top right corner, as well as the entirety of Off the Script this past weekend for episode 253, part 1, 2, and 3, linked in the annotation that you see in the top right corner of the screen, man. Make sure you guys go and check all that stuff out. I would greatly appreciate all your support. Make sure you guys follow me on social media, man, at JD from NY206. Hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on that bell for all notifications. If you guys don't have a Twitter account, make one. It takes seconds because you guys can actually get notified through Twitter with whatever I upload here on the channel, man. So make sure you guys go and check all that stuff out. And Patreon, patreon.com/JD from NY206. Great way to support the channel. If you guys want to support on a monthly basis, Patreon's the way to go. You guys get all the audio and video versions of Off the Script early. You guys get the audio versions of Raw, SmackDown, and NXT. That goes nowhere. That is exclusive to you guys. And I'm going to start rolling out some beer reviews later on this week, man. So I got one major beer review coming out for you guys as well. I would love to get some extra content out there. I just got to find the time to do it, whether it be top fives, top tens. We got the Royal Rumble coming up. I want to do something special for the Royal Rumble. I know Solomonster's doing top 10 greatest WWE Championship matches at the Royal Rumble in its history, in its 30-year history. I like to do something like that as well. Maybe a top 5, my own version of a top 5 for the greatest Royal Rumble WWE Championship matches of all time. So if you guys would like to see that, let me know down in the comment section. But again, Twitter, at JD from NY206. Hit that subscribe button down below. We are nearing 103,500 subscribers. And the Patreon page, patreon.com/JD from NY206. All right, man, let's get into this SmackDown Live review for Christmas Day. The show started off with R-Truth and Carmella. R-Truth coming out dressed as Santa Claus, and Carmella dressed as one of Santa's little elves. So they come out, and they are talking about Christmas. Talks about how they stopped by SmackDown on the way back to the North Pole. Truth gets the reindeer mixed up with the music group, the Jackson 5. And Carmella tries to stop him, but before that, Daniel Bryan comes out. Now, this was very interesting, man. I know you guys watched SmackDown Live last week, and we really made mention of Mustafa Ali and the slight botch that he had with the 054 on Daniel Bryan last week when he pinned the WWE Champion coming off the 054. Slight miscue. His knee went right into his face, and you could visibly hear Mustafa Ali tell Daniel Bryan that he was sorry for what happened. And to see Daniel Bryan come out on SmackDown Live immediately, because this show was taped immediately following that show, it was nice to see Daniel Bryan in good spirits following that slight miscue. His hair was disheveled. He looked like he was fucked up. He looked a little, a little out there. But I'm glad that everything is okay. Now, Mustafa Ali was actually on Lillian Garcia's podcast. And this is quite interesting, man. And it kind of foreshadows what happened last week. He was on Lillian Garcia's podcast, and he mentioned the 054, talking about, his in-ring style, and he was talking about his background and how he grew up and how he got into the business and all that. And then came the talk of the 054. He says that he doesn't really know what he's doing when he gets up there. He lets his body take over. He closes his eyes, and wherever he lands, he lands. And obviously, listening to that, and then watching what happened on SmackDown Live last week to see what he did with Daniel Bryan, it's a little scary. So hopefully he corrects that and gets that going right as we move forward with this Mustafa Ali push on SmackDown Live. But it was good to see Daniel Bryan out there and A-OK. He comes out, he accepts being here instead of with his family, which we all know the show was taped. And he cannot accept this farce known as Truthy Claus, because R-Truth is dressed as Santa Claus. Bryan reveals that this is not the real Santa Claus. Bryan then tries to start a fickle chant, and he will expose Santa Claus just like he exposed AJ Styles. Bryan goes on ranting about how people's desires and consumption have ruined the planet, creating islands of misfit trash in the oceans. Now, I would love if somebody just came out there and did something to oppose Daniel Bryan. Come out there eating meat, or come out there and just start littering the fucking ringside area with trash, polluting the ringside area. Using, styrofoam, or using some sort of utensils that are not, earth-friendly or environmental-friendly. Something along those lines to just fucking piss him off. It's going to be interesting to see who Daniel Bryan is going up against at WrestleMania, because the way that we seen this show develop all the way up until the last portion of the show, I don't think it's going to be AJ Styles after the Royal Rumble. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens with AJ Styles, Daniel Bryan, and the WWE Championship moving forward into WrestleMania. But I would love to see someone get underneath the skin of Daniel Bryan and just do something that is not environmental friendly, just to fucking continue to piss him off, man. So he mentions the glaciers melting and the sea levels rising. Bryan goes on and says in 20 years there will be no North Pole and no Santa Claus. Truth says Bryan is an angry little elf. That's a Vince McMahon line if I ever seen one. Bryan asks if this is just a joke to Truth. Bryan then says Truth's career is a joke. Truth then retaliates and says that may be true, but Bryan better watch out because Truthy Claus is going to the Royal Rumble, and that he's number 30, and he may take the WWE title from Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania because he is number 30 in the Royal Rumble, planting seeds that he's got the best chance to win out of everybody right now. That is, he says, if Daniel Bryan is still the WWE Champion by the time WrestleMania comes around. Bryan then asks Truth how he expects to win the Royal Rumble when he can't even count to 30. So then R-Truth tries to better him, and he legitimately starts to count to 30, and he can't get past 7 because they call for a dance break. So they call for a 7-second dance break. Truth counts up to 7. 7-second dance break happens, and then Daniel Bryan takes out Truth's knee with a chop block, and that was pretty much it. Bryan then drops the heel hook on R-Truth as Carmella screams like a fucking banshee. Bryan then lets go of the hold, and that was pretty much it. That's pretty much it. Raises the WWE title in the air as his music hits, and that was the way we opened SmackDown Live. It was good to see Daniel Bryan out there again. I have to reiterate, following that scary 054 incident from the week before. Speaking of the 054, Mr. 054, Mustafa Ali versus Andrade Cien Almas to open SmackDown Live, man. This is exactly what we need to see. And I mentioned this on last week's SmackDown Live. SmackDown really didn't need much of a change. They really don't need to be going through this new era that WWE is jamming down our throats like they are on Monday Night Raw. New direction, fresh start, fresh faces, new era. The McMahons are now running the show as if we didn't fucking know that already. So, this is exactly what we need to see as far as difference in SmackDown Live. We need to start seeing more of Almas. We need to start seeing Mustafa Ali. And the fact that Mustafa Ali is now a regular member of the SmackDown Live roster, graduated from 205 Live, that is a solid change that I think we can all get behind. Because they clearly have some sort of direction for Mustafa Ali. And that is a very good start to whatever this new era is going to do for the WWE going on into 2019. Now, I do have an issue with this. I do have an issue with at least half of this. Mustafa Ali's great. I want to see him succeed to the highest level that WWE will allow him to go. But Andrade Cien Almas, after the reports that we talked about this past weekend on Off the Script, that he's very unhappy in the WWE, how this is the second time that he's reiterated how frustrated he is with the WWE. One time in NXT because they couldn't get his character right. Then they straddled him with Zelina Vega. Then he was a main event talent, a must-see talent, NXT champion. Took the entire act to a whole new level. But before they strapped him with Zelina Vega, he was very frustrated, contemplating leaving the WWE. And it was Alberto El Patron, a friend of his, who talked him into riding the wave out and seeing where it goes. Don't leave just yet. Give it some time. He listened to Alberto, and he went on to win the NXT Championship, giving us probably the greatest NXT Championship match, the greatest NXT match, not only in that company's history, in that brand's history, but in 2018 with Johnny Gargano. I'm telling you right now, when I do a top 10, spoiler, my top match of the year. You guys know this if you've been watching me. Johnny Gargano versus Andrade Cien Almas, NXT TakeOver Philadelphia. Simple. There's no other match on my list that's going to beat that. None. And I'm sure you guys feel the same way. But Andrade is frustrated again. There were reports that not only Andrade, but Gran Metalik is frustrated. And there's been communication between Roosh, his friend, right now, who's in a major program with LA Park on MLW TV. And they're setting up a big match between LA Park and Roosh at their WrestleMania event, WrestleMania week. And Andrade is frustrated. And I don't understand why WWE has not gotten on the page yet with Andrade Cien Almas. This guy was a certified machine. A 5-star making match machine coming out of NXT. Why this guy was brought up from NXT, if they had no solid plan for him, was foolish. Like, why would you take him out of NXT, put him on SmackDown Live, to have him ultimately sit there and do nothing for most of the time he's been there? The only thing that he's done on SmackDown Live is give us, yes, a match with Daniel Bryan. Teaser. It was a cock tease. Match with AJ Styles. Another cock tease. Then we started hearing reports how Vince McMahon loves Andrade Cien Almas. Does he really now? Does he really now? Why did it take so long for Vince McMahon, quote unquote, per reports, to warm up to Andrade Cien Almas? I don't know. Maybe if you watched NXT back in January, you would have loved him then and couldn't wait to get your hands on him and then use him in that same way on SmackDown Live. No, but you got the guy wrestling mixed match challenge or mixed match tag team matches with fucking Rusev and Lana. It's a waste of fucking time. The guy should have been pretty much groomed for at least a U.S. championship. And then start getting him into that world title discussion. You know, people say about Drew McIntyre, if Drew McIntyre is not holding championship gold in at least the first quarter of 2019, this company's fucked up. Same thing goes for Almas. I'm not talking necessarily about the WWE Championship, even though we all know that the guy is WWE Championship caliber athlete. But if Almas is not holding championship gold coming out of WrestleMania, downright criminal. And no, this is not JD being an Almas mark or a dick rider for Almas. No, this is legit logical fucking facts. This guy's been a waste. So when you hear reports about Almas being frustrated, can you blame him? Can you blame him? Don't know why they called Almas up or Vega. I'm hoping that going into 2019, they got a fucking plan for him. Rey Mysterio versus Andrade Cien Almas for the United States Championship. Done. You want a WrestleMania match that is going to tear the house down on the undercard? There you go. Because when I look at WrestleMania, every aspect of that show needs to be matches like that. That's what we want WrestleMania for. That's why we watch WrestleMania. It's about time WrestleMania gets back into being a show based on the name alone, or the word in the name, rather. Wrestle. Got the best wrestlers in the world employed by your company. Put them in a major program. Utilize their talents. Let me see them go. It's the showcase of the immortals where legends are made, right? No reason why Almas is not in a major program on SmackDown Live. And I don't know what they're doing with him. You're going to constantly have him lose. What do you think that does in the eyes of these fucking casuals? Almas is a loser. If he doesn't start winning matches, people aren't going to think highly of him. They're going to think he's just another pushover. Oh, this guy's a bum. Then you got people outwardly saying on social media, oh, Almas sucks. What? How could those words roll off your tongue? I don't get it. I just don't understand it. Almas should have been in a position up until this point where he looked good. He should have been a solid act on this show. And I feel like they're throwing him to everybody to accumulate a loss. And now Mustafa Ali is the flavor of the fucking month. For the month of December, no matter how much we love Mustafa Ali, he's the flavor of the month. I want to see Mustafa Ali achieve success. Because that means if he achieves success, then we're going to see the same thing for Buddy Murphy, Cedric Alexander, and everybody else that makes their way through 205 Live. Not everybody could be those guys, but those guys certainly deserve a chance if Mustafa Ali's getting one. But I feel like he's the flavor of the fucking month. And Almas, unfortunately, is caught in the crossfire. How long before WWE stops pushing Mustafa Ali? That's the better question. Now, if I'm booking this shit, Rusev, we'll talk about that in a second, just won the United States Championship. There's nothing about Rusev that interests me anymore. Rusev's a babyface. Almas is a heel. They had a little back and forth during SummerSlam. This is a prime opportunity. If WWE wanted to get the title off of Rusev at the Royal Rumble and give it to Almas. Almas holds it till WrestleMania and we get Rey Mysterio versus Andrade Cien Almas at WrestleMania for the United States Championship. Books itself. And I'll go over why Rusev won the United States Championship in just a little bit. But speaking of Mustafa Ali, he beat Andrade Cien Almas in what was a very good match. You know, it was, again, one of those cock tease matches. They gave you just enough to whet your appetite, and that was it. 6-7 minutes, they went out there to open the show. Two guys who could legitimately work, two guys that are based on their work rate. They went out there, had a decent match to open the show, and that was it. Mustafa Ali hits a huge DDT, tilt-a-whirl DDT, drags Almas over to the cover, and he climbs up for the 054. This time he hit it perfectly on Almas. 1, 2, 3. And Mustafa Ali wins. Again. So that means, look at Mustafa Ali so far on SmackDown Live. He was in a match against Daniel Bryan, one-on-one. He lost. He's not going to beat the WWE Champion in a one-on-one match. But that was his debut match, being promoted from 205 Live. Then the next week, he's teaming with AJ Styles against Bryan and Almas, pins Daniel Bryan. So he got the win for his team last week, comes out this week, and beats Andrade and Almas, a former NXT champion. A 5-star making match machine on his 3rd week on SmackDown Live. What do they got planned for Mustafa Ali? I don't know. But again, I reiterate and I state, the better question is, how long is WWE planning on pushing Mustafa Ali before they get bored? Because you know how Vince McMahon, primarily, gets bored. He'll take a new toy out, he'll play with it for a little bit, and then realize, you know what, I don't like this anymore. Put it back on the shelf and then take something else off, play with that, and forget about the original toy that he pulled off the shelf. Having that collect dust for about 6 months until they're fucking worthless. Mustafa Ali wins. After the match, we got people coming up to Mustafa Ali in the back. Cedric Alexander's coming up and hugging him. And they're all like wishing him the best. Right? And Shelton Benjamin is there. For some reason, he's there, standing in the back. He comes up and he's like, I'd like to welcome you to SmackDown Live. And he pulls out his fist and then gives him a handshake. Now, I have to ask this legitimately because this is the first thing that I thought of when I was watching SmackDown Live. He beat Daniel Bryan, WWE Champion. He beat Andrade Cien Almas, former NXT Champion. Can someone tell me what the point is of Mustafa Ali now beating those two and then getting into a feud with Shelton Benjamin? Someone who, more than likely, most of you didn't even realize was still employed. I don't know. Or is WWE going to go with this boring, tired, just repetitive storyline of, oh, here's a heel who is teetering on the heel babyface dynamic, trying to buddy up to the new babyface, trying to lead him down the right path, and then eventually turn on him. What point does that make? Benjamin's already a heel. Or better yet, maybe WWE teams them up. And we start seeing Ali and Benjamin team up, and then he turns on him. Makes no sense. Makes no sense. Instead, WWE should just come on out, give us Shelton Benjamin in this new era, because he's too talented to just waste away. You know, Benjamin calls himself the gold standard. Why don't Benjamin stand up for himself? Yeah, you beat Almas and you beat Bryan, but I'm the gold standard on SmackDown Live. You know, I've been overlooked. You know, you think you're the new hot shit coming in here. You gotta go through me, man. Former Intercontinental Champion. Former Tag Team Champion. You know, I was here well before you. Before you even got in this business, I was here. Simple. You don't need to create some dynamic where Benjamin buddies up to Mustafa Ali and then turns on him. Because it makes no sense. Based on what I originally just told you. He beat Almas and he beat Bryan. Then he's going to get into a feud with Shelton Benjamin? It's like you're working backwards. That's not advancing Mustafa Ali in any way. We'll see what happens. I'm just glad that Shelton Benjamin is, they remembered that he's still on the roster. Because people were asking me in this new era, where the fuck is Shelton Benjamin? I don't fucking know. I don't know why he's not being used. The fuck you sign him for? Moving on. Usos, Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows versus Sanity and The Bar. Got tag teams on this show in tag team matches. Look at that. Look at that. I don't have any faith in WWE using Sanity. Well, JD, new era's on its way. Sanity's been on TV two weeks in a row. So, the fuck does that mean? Well, because WWE realizes that these people are still employed. Now they're going to use them on TV. What happened to the last 6 months? Where they just vanished and disappeared. Who gives a shit? How can anyone have faith in WWE to push Gallows and Anderson, Sanity? They need to start a consistent swing of, featuring these teams. They need to be on TV every single week. You can't feature them twice here and then have them disappear for 3 months. It's not the way things work. It goes back to what I told you. Vince McMahon loves the New Day, loves the Bar, and loves the Usos. Those are the big 3 toys. Those are the biggest toys he's got in the tag team division. Sanity and the Club and Primo and Cologne. Forget about it. Primo and Cologne haven't even... Primo and Epico, rather. The Colognes. Whatever. It's timeshare motherfuckers, man. Primo and Epico. They're on Vince McMahon's toy shelf. They haven't been pulled out of the plastic yet. They've been used, but they're hermetically sealed back in the fucking plastic on the shelf. Vince, I don't know if he's ever going to start playing with them again. Sanity and Gallows and Anderson? Yeah, he'll take them off the shelf here and there. He'll get bored of something, and things will get repetitive, and then he'll pull Sanity off the shelf and start playing with Sanity. He'll pull Gallows and Anderson off the shelf, start playing with them. And then when he gets bored with those, relatively quickly, he'll put them back on the shelf. And then we'll go right back to the Usos and the New Day and the Bar. It's boring. There's too many talented tag teams on SmackDown Live to be wasting away. And I am not a fan. This is another WWE tired and true formula. Instead of giving me competitive tag team matches between 2 teams, they figured, you know what, let's throw 4 teams into a huge 8-man tag. I don't understand that. It wasn't a bad match, but I like to see competitive tag team wrestling. We need to start setting up who the Bar is going to defend the titles against first in the new year. Out of this match, I can't give you a solid answer as to who I want to see challenge the Bar for the SmackDown Live Tag Team Championships. Sanity, Gallows and Anderson. It's still relatively boring. Why am I going to give a shit about these teams when they haven't been used? And why am I going to give a shit about these teams knowing WWE's track record with tag teams? For the previous reasons I just mentioned to you. Teams from NXT that get called up are doomed to fail immediately. You could date back to the Ascension when they were called up. Done. Vaudevillains, done. American Alpha, done. The Revival, done. Enzo and Cass, done. Do you have any faith in Heavy Machinery? Do you have any faith in any tag teams coming up from NXT? They thrive in NXT, and then they die on the main roster. Why is that? Those were solid acts. Those were solid acts. Because Vince McMahon gets bored. Vince McMahon gets bored very easily. His favorite toys on the main roster will never be pushed aside for the new toys. Because they were never his new toys to begin with. They were used before he got his hands on them. They were Triple H's toys. And Vince McMahon doesn't like to share any toys in his closet. It's pretty much what it is. Tag teams from NXT that graduate, or get demoted rather, because it's not a graduation, it's the fucking demotion, to the main roster, fail. I have no faith in any tag teams on the main roster outside the Usos, the Bar, and the New Day. And that's where WWE has failed tag team wrestling. They need to open up, because there's a whole new world to experience in the tag team division if they allow shit to happen. Hopefully, shit changes. That's one aspect of SmackDown Live that needs to be changed. Tag team wrestling. Same thing goes for Raw. Luke Gallows, Carl Anderson, and the Usos win here. We had a big pop-up uppercut on Jimmy by Cesaro. Gallows drops Cesaro. Anderson tagged in for the Magic Killer on Cesaro. Carl Anderson covers Cesaro for the pin. Mustafa Ali, like I mentioned previously, he was there backstage with Brian Kendrick, Akira Tozawa, Cedric Alexander, and then Shelton Benjamin comes and introduces himself, and then Daniel Bryan comes out there and chop blocks Mustafa Ali and beats on him in the back. So he was pretty pissed off about what happened last week, quote unquote, with him pinning the WWE champion. Shane McMahon and The Miz, Miz TV. Now, I mentioned in the last couple of weeks that I don't want to see The Miz in a babyface role. Some guys just bleed heel. And The Miz is not someone who I want to see in a babyface role, especially prioritized on SmackDown Live in a tag team with Shane McMahon when you got several talented tag teams on SmackDown Live with one coming in Heavy Machinery. So Shane McMahon is on Miz TV. Says that he saw the Miz's tag team match last week with Mandy Rose. And Miz asks Shane about Shane and this entire ordeal. Says this isn't about the McMahons, but they are listening to the fans now. Shane says new matchups and new faces are coming. He says SmackDown has always been the land of opportunity. Yeah, it was, and then you killed that off. Now the ratings are plummeting, and you're losing your fan base week by week, and now you want to go back on what you originally told us the brand split was supposed to do. Land of opportunity, he says. And they reiterate here in this segment, does Shane, the fans will be the ones to shape the narrative and create those opportunities. Really now. I mentioned on my Monday Night Raw review, hand me the fucking pen and let me get to work. I ain't writing for Vince McMahon like fucking Mr. Jimmy Jacobs over there. I'm writing for the fans, and that's what WWE needs to do. We don't want to write for Vince McMahon. The writers shouldn't be writing for Vince McMahon. They should be writing for the fucking millions of people watching this shit every week. People like you and me. Miz says Shane did a great job as SmackDown commissioner, comparing job performance to what Baron Corbin did on Raw. Miz goes on and points how Shane can dedicate time to his other talents, like teaming with his bestie to be the best tag team in the world, now that there are 4 McMahon family members running the show. Miz says he proved last week that he can team with anyone and be successful. Miz then asks Shane what he has to say about them teaming up. Shane continues to say no. Then this is where The Miz goes into full-fledged desperation mode, but it came off in probably the most successful babyface feel that WWE has given The Miz so far. Miz says it's not about sucking up to a McMahon. It's about his dad. Miz talks about all the accomplishments that he's had in WWE Championship, main eventing WrestleMania, defeating John Cena in the main event of WrestleMania, Intercontinental Champion, so on and so forth. Miz says everything he does in the ring and out, he looks at it and wonders if it will be enough for his dad. The answer is always the same, no. Until the World Cup tournament. Miz recalls how his dad praised Shane McMahon after the tournament and told Miz to imagine teaming with Shane. Miz says for the first time he got through to his dad and he knew that he needed to make the tag team with Shane, knowing they would be the best tag team in the world. Miz goes on about the new WWE and says the decision isn't theirs to make. It's up to the fans. Miz stands up and then asks the fans if they want to see Shane and Miz team up. And the crowd breaks out in yes chants. And then the fans also chant no. So we got a mix of yes and no chants. This was when WWE, this is why I went on a little mini rant in the beginning of this review, how WWE piped in many manufactured crowd reactions and noises here during this segment. Shane says Miz better not screw him or there will be major consequences. Shane then finally gives in and says, let's try this. They shake hands and raise the trophy together. Miz then leads a yes chant, says, hell, he's not doing it anymore, and I'm the one who created it. And he starts doing Daniel Bryan's old yes chant. So we got The Miz and Shane McMahon in a tag team. Is this leading to them challenging the Bar? I don't know, man. I don't know. And attention to detail. Don't fuck me or don't screw me. There will be major consequences if you do so. that pretty much guarantees that Shane McMahon and Shane McMahon and The Miz will be winning the WWE Smackdown Live Tag Team Championships at some point in 2019. That's what I see here. I don't know. I'm not completely sold on this yet. I'm not. And then what's going to happen? They win the tag team titles and they go through a little rough patch and then they lose the titles because of something Miz does to fuck shit up, and then they have a major match at SummerSlam. Whoop-de-fucking-do. Whoop-de-do. Miz is back to being heel. Shane's the babyface. World goes round and round. Not sold on it yet. Samoa Joe and Jeff Hardy. Samoa Joe wins by DQ. Pretty basic match. I'm not sold on this feud. I don't even know why the feud is happening. This is just something for both men to bide the time to get into 2019. Hopefully, WWE has a better plan for Samoa Joe in 2019. The guy is too talented to just be wasting away on this show, doing nothing. They got this storyline going on where Samoa Joe is just ripping into Jeff Hardy about his previous demons or his past demons. Samoa Joe wins here by DQ. Hardy is on the apron, hits a flying clothesline on the floor to Samoa Joe. Hardy then repeatedly kicks Samoa Joe, kicks him, knees to Joe against the barricade. Referee tries to pull Hardy off, but Hardy keeps going to attack. Referee calls the match. So Samoa Joe wins by DQ because Jeff Hardy refused to listen to the referee's 5 count. After the bell, Hardy keeps attacking Joe. Hardy then tosses Joe over the announce table, and he follows, but Joe gets up quickly and catches him in the coquina clutch, dropping him into the clutch behind the announce table. Officials come to break up the fight, but before it's too late, Samoa Joe releases the hold, and Hardy is face down on the floor, passed out. Don't know what this did for either man, but it is what it is. Samoa Joe better look strong coming out of this. I don't know why these two are feuding to begin with. Again, it's just something to buy the time to get these two guys into 2019. We are backstage, and the Usos are talking backstage after their team won earlier on in the evening against The Bar and Sanity. Jay goes one way, says he will see Jimmy later, have a Merry Christmas. Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose come walking into the shot. And we got Jimmy standing there underneath the mistletoe. So Mandy Rose points this out. Look above you. You know what this means, right? And then Jimmy's like, no, I don't know what it means. And then Mandy Rose is obviously baiting him into doing something against Naomi's wishes. You know, honey, you're missing out completely. So Naomi then comes walking in, takes the mistletoe, or I think she takes her shoe, and throws it like a Randy Johnson 100-mile-an-hour fastball at Mandy Rose as Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose scatter. And then we get a nice little Christmas kiss underneath the mistletoe for both Jimmy and Naomi during this scene. So that was that. Naomi and Mandy Rose, who have a feud now materializing on social media, now playing off on TV, so WWE probably going to get that on SmackDown Live in the coming weeks to just kind of play off what those two women are going through right now. Shinsuke Nakamura versus Rusev for the United States Championship. Main event on SmackDown Live. This was actually a very good match. These guys, this main event came on at 9:30. 9:30. So these guys had a full half an hour to get all their shit in. And they were given about 20 plus minutes to tell their story here in this United States Championship match. I am a fan of Rusev. I've mentioned this on the podcast several times. Rusev earlier in the year with Aiden English was as hot as anybody in the WWE. Why WWE didn't strike while the iron was hot with the entire Rusev Day thing is beyond me. And the only logical thing I can come up with is that WWE didn't plan for it to get that big. And if WWE sees something materializing on television that they did not plan for or wasn't in their plans, they will A, try to cool it down, or B, completely ignore it and continue doing what they want to do. For example, Rusev was coming off as a babyface, and they were continuing to push him as a heel to try and kill all those Rusev Day chants. Shinsuke Nakamura, on the other hand, fucked up. Completely had his run fucked from the beginning. And it dates back to Hell in a Cell 2017. 2017. Remember SmackDown Live in 2017? Yeah, I don't want to remind you how terrible it was, but I have to. WWE would have rather went with Jinder Mahal as the WWE champion instead of Shinsuke Nakamura. So the discrimination against Shinsuke Nakamura, this stupidity of creative, and I guess this goes back to what Jimmy Jacobs said, we book and write for Vince McMahon. Is he going to like it? Vince McMahon never has taken a liking to any international superstar. Chinese, Japanese, whatever. So I guess they booked for Vince McMahon. Right? Because that's the explanation I got from the Jimmy Jacobs Wrestling Observer Live interview that he did with Bryan Alvarez. Shinsuke Nakamura should have been the WWE champion. At least once in this run. All the way going to Royal Rumble. He wins the Royal Rumble. Why are you going to give this guy the Royal Rumble if you don't plan on using him? So we get to AJ Styles at WrestleMania. WWE Championship match. Dream match that people have wanted to see on WWE television at WrestleMania. Right? Match was atrocious. God-awful. One of the worst matches of the night at WrestleMania. Completely disappointing everybody. So WWE turns Nakamura heel on WrestleMania night. He's now a heel. Low-blowing AJ Styles. They change his theme music. And they abandoned everything that made Nakamura special as a babyface. He connected with the fans, and WWE tried to take that away from him. The heel character was working because it allowed Nakamura to, I guess, have a new sense of charisma and a new attitude. And we get to see a glimpse of who Nakamura is, away from the babyface Nakamura that we loved in NXT. Same old match with AJ Styles every single pay-per-view until there was no more feud. And Nakamura lost and lost and lost and lost until he couldn't lose anymore. AJ Styles retained the WWE Championship, went on to Samoa Joe. It was at that point that WWE, being that they failed Nakamura, gave him the United States title as a consolation prize. And even then, they didn't book the title. They didn't book Nakamura with care and love that they should have from the very beginning. So we come to this point. We got a dead Rusev character against a dead Shinsuke Nakamura character. Now, Shinsuke Nakamura's WWE contract is coming up in March. I was under the impression that Nakamura is going to be a WWE lifer. He signed with WWE for the last 2 years. And he pretty much rooted his family from Japan, right? Got up, left Japan, took his entire family with them, got his entire family acclimated in the United States, driver's licenses, culture here, new home in Orlando, etc., etc. So why would he do that all over again, take his family out of Orlando, and move right back to Japan? Why would he do that? Seems like a lot of work if you ask me. But from what I've seen here tonight, or last night rather on SmackDown Live, Shinsuke Nakamura may be done with the WWE. He may be finished with the WWE. There's no more rematch clauses. The rematch clause is gone. It's abolished. It's antiquated. Shane McMahon got rid of it. So Shinsuke Nakamura is not getting another United States Championship title match. He's not getting a rematch. Done. So where does Nakamura go from here? They took the WWE Championship opportunity away from him because they'd rather have pushed Jinder Mahal. They took the United States Championship away from him. What the fuck does he have? What does he do? Who does he feud with? Where does he go? Nowhere. If not for SmackDown Live, he ain't going to Monday Night Raw. The fuck are they going to do with him on Monday Night Raw? You ain't moving him down to NXT. I don't understand the lack of care by the main roster with Shinsuke Nakamura. This guy had one of the biggest debuts in the history of this company against Sami Zayn at TakeOver Dallas. And that match was absolutely out of this world fantastic. One of the best debut matches I have ever seen from anybody. And now we're talking about Nakamura leaving the WWE. Contract up in March. Doubt he has anything factored for WrestleMania. If I'm a betting man, Nakamura is going back to New Japan, because there were rumors that Nakamura was being offered megatons of money to go back to Japan. Does Nakamura really still have a heart in the world of professional wrestling where he wants to continue to challenge himself and push himself? Is New Japan really wanting Nakamura back? And if they do, are they going to make Nakamura a centerpiece for that company? What does that say if they get Nakamura and start building around him again, bringing him back to the old ways that we seen him in New Japan many, many years ago? What does that mean for Kenny Omega? Are they setting themselves up to sign Nakamura because they know Kenny Omega is not coming back to New Japan? Is he going to lose the IWGP Heavyweight Championship at Wrestle Kingdom 13? It's going to be an interesting next month. If I'm a betting man, Nakamura is done in WWE. Gone. And it's a shame that I'm sitting here telling you that. Rusev winning the United States Championship last night in a great match may have very well been Nakamura's swan song for WWE. And he went out the very best way that he could, by putting Rusev over in a very good main event match on SmackDown Live. But if Nakamura is not factored into WrestleMania, if he lost the United States Championship, if he was never given a run with the WWE Championship, how terrible does that look? How terrible does that look? That the guy tried to learn the English language better for being here. How Triple H put so many resources and so much effort into building him up as a must-see attraction, and the main roster flushed it all away. It's pretty demoralizing. It's pretty shitty watching that. Watching him debut till now. Watching the decline of this guy. And where does Rusev go from here? Rusev, yeah, he's over with the fans. How over was he truly on SmackDown Live? How much of that was manufactured? Might have been a genuine reaction to him winning the title, but are fans going to continue supporting Rusev in this role? I don't know. I hope that whatever I mentioned earlier with Almas happens. Almas takes the title off Rusev, and Almas is the United States Champion, feuding with Rey Mysterio going into WrestleMania. That's the ideal situation there. But this was a great match. We had a new champion crowned. This was awesome chants ringing out. One has to wonder if they were legit or manufactured. Rusev Day chants. Again, one has to wonder if they were legit or manufactured. We had Nakamura attempt a triangle often towards the end of this match. Finally locked it in after a third attempt. Rusev started fading. Rusev then powers up Nakamura, lifting him up off the mat. Slams Nakamura to break free from the triangle. Rusev Day chants going on. Lana on the outside encouraging Rusev to get back up. Rusev charges in the corner, but Nakamura moves and Rusev hits the ring post. Shoulder first. Rusev kicks out at 2 after Nakamura quickly goes for a cover. Nakamura with a knee to the back of the head. And goes for a pin attempt again, close to count. Nakamura waits for Rusev to get up. He's waiting for the Kinshasa. Rusev stumbles to his feet. Nakamura misses the Kinshasa as Rusev misses a Machka kick. Nakamura stuns Rusev with another kick. Rusev then drops Nakamura with a huge clothesline, turning him inside out. Rusev then, getting hyped up, knows this is the end, delivers a huge Machka kick for the pin and the United States Championship. That was it. That was it. Rusev is your new United States champion. They gave him a little bit of time to celebrate in the ring. Now, Rusev was mentioning that it was his birthday. I didn't look. I don't know why they would lie about that, but I didn't really look at the fact. You know what? I'm going to look at it live now as I'm recording. Let me see. Rusev birthday. Yeah. He turned 33 years old yesterday. Rusev turned 33 years old yesterday. So that's all the reason you need for WWE giving him the United States Championship. Nakamura's on his way out. It's Rusev's birthday. You couldn't paint a more perfect picture. Done. Nakamura's out. Rusev's birthday. Give him a nice birthday gift. Merry Christmas. I doubt he holds that title for 2 months. Then we get one of the most bizarre endings to SmackDown that you will see all year. All year. And I know this was not in the spoilers. This was actually, I'm going to take a guess. This was filmed at the WWE headquarters in Stamford, Connecticut. Backstage, AJ Styles is wanted by Vince McMahon. So Vince shakes AJ's hand and then asks what his name is. Now, we all know Vince McMahon knows who AJ Styles is. If you're paying him the money you're paying him, you know who the fuck is on your payroll. AJ looks at Vince, confused. He says, I'm AJ Styles, the phenomenal one, a two-time WWE champ, the one who built SmackDown Live. Vince says, if this is the house that AJ built, why didn't he compete? Why was Daniel Bryan raising hell in AJ's house tonight? Vince says, if that's the new Daniel Bryan, I want to know who the real AJ Styles is. Vince has seen superstars come and go, win their titles, earn their money, and then become complacent, and then go home. Vince should be the last one talking about complacency. Vince makes his money. He writes in the most laziest manner possible, has been complacent for the last 6 years, ever since Raw went to 3 hours, continues to make more money, and refuses to change or get better. Vince has been complacent ever since WCW died. So nobody should be talking about complacency. Vince knows that's not AJ. Vince says he and AJ are a lot alike, believe it or not. Vince knows AJ has a black heart in his soul, a tormented soul, and he continues to point at AJ's chest. Vince says AJ is afraid to lose control because of what will happen. Vince says if that's what AJ has, he wants to see it. Vince wants AJ to harness all that. He wants to brutalize and terrorize. He wants AJ to brutalize and terrorize the locker room. Vince says there's an animal inside AJ and it's begging to get out. AJ looks confused. Vince says that animal is eating AJ alive. Vince wants to see it, and Vince then proceeds to smack AJ across the face. AJ then fires back at Vince and punches him right in the face, dropping the 73-year-old Vince McMahon. And Vince is laying on the floor smiling as Jamie Noble comes over and says, AJ, what are you doing? He goes over to attend Vince McMahon. AJ is growling on his way out of the scene after he just punched Vince McMahon. Vince is looking up at the ceiling, and Jamie Noble asks, are you all right? Are you all right? And Vince says, yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Oh, I'm good. And he just lays there with his eyes closed as SmackDown goes off the air. I don't know what this means. I'm still trying to figure out what it means. The first thing that popped into my head was maybe this is setting up a new AJ Styles going into WrestleMania. Clearly, AJ Styles is staying with the WWE. There's no doubt in my mind that AJ is staying with the WWE. Maybe this is setting up WWE, or maybe this is setting up AJ Styles, rather, for whatever he's got going on at WrestleMania. And no, he's not going to be going one-on-one with Vince McMahon at WrestleMania. Maybe this is setting up something for Vince McMahon to bring AJ someone that's going to channel that inner demon that he was talking about, which was weird in itself. This was a very Attitude Era-esque promo by Vince McMahon. And it just came off a little weird. And I don't know if you guys felt the same way. It came off a little weird to me because you got 73-year-old Vince McMahon. He walks and talks like a fucking zombie. He's void of all energy. This is not the same vibrant Vince McMahon we seen back in the fucking 90s during the Attitude Era. Giving an Attitude Era-like promo. The delivery of this just came off wrong. Vince is talking about AJ brutalizing someone and terrorizing someone. How he got a black hole in his heart. This is a promo Vince McMahon back during the Austin Era that he would cut on someone. You know? Or cut on the roster. Having Vince McMahon reiterate this type of promo here in his mid-70s doesn't look right, doesn't feel right, doesn't sound right. I don't think Vince should be cutting promos like that anymore. It was a little bizarre hearing Vince talk in that manner. But I don't know what's going on here. I really don't. There's nothing as far as news goes coming out of this show. This was not in the spoilers, like I said. This was filmed after the fact and edited in the show. Maybe it's setting up AJ to go one-on-one with a Shawn Michaels maybe at WrestleMania, an Undertaker. For all we know, WWE can bring in Kenny Omega and put Kenny Omega versus AJ Styles at WrestleMania. I don't know. The last thing that I heard was that AJ Styles and Randy Orton was the plan for WrestleMania. Now, I don't know how true that is. If I'm a betting man, I'm going to say no. But black hole, brutalizing, terrorizing, right? He's afraid to lose control. Maybe we get AJ versus The Undertaker at WrestleMania. I don't know. Maybe it's setting up an AJ WrestleMania match. That's the only thing I could think of. But I can't give you more than that because there is no news on this particular story. And it's just very difficult to figure out after the bizarre ending that we've seen to SmackDown Live. I don't know. I wish I had a better answer for you. But it certainly opened everybody's fucking eyes watching this show. To see the show end like that perked everybody's ears. You know? Vince wants to see a more aggressive AJ. Vince wants to see a new AJ. Maybe this just plays into the fact that WWE is beginning anew. They want everything new, everything fresh. Out with the old AJ. Out with the old family-friendly AJ. In with the new brutal. I don't care about anything AJ Styles. I don't know. We'll see what happens in the weeks to come, man. The second week of January is going to be telling for WWE. Raw and SmackDown, both. If we don't see change facilitated on those shows, then we're not going to get any new change. Because this week, even though SmackDown was better than Raw, next week, don't care what's happening on the shows. And on Monday Night Raw announced a steel cage match between Dolph Ziggler and Drew McIntyre. And they got another taped edition of SmackDown Live. Throwaway shows. Waste of time shows. Thought this was a good show. But they're not going to really progress any storylines. We're not going to get a sense of where they're going until everything is over with as far as the holidays are concerned. So we'll see what happens. But we got a new United States champion, Rusev. Nakamura, 99% sure the guy is out of WWE after SmackDown Live. Done. Don't know what they do with him. Got a new United States champion, Nakamura out. Ali, flavor of the month for WWE and SmackDown Live. How long before they stop pushing Mustafa Ali? What is the plan for Almas? Lost. Doesn't look good for Andrade and Almas. And what are they going to do with the tag team division? It's great that we see Sanity 2 weeks in a row. Great that we see the club 2 weeks in a row. But is WWE going to get bored? Like I always do. Featuring new talent, tag teams, and then with Heavy Machinery coming on in, what does it mean for them? Only time will tell. We'll see what happens, man. Thank you guys so much. That's your SmackDown Live review. Not sure if NXT tonight is going up. It might not. I might save it for tomorrow. I might record it tonight and save it for tomorrow. I'm not really sure yet. But we'll see what happens. Sorry this got up so late. You can blame jolly old Saint Nick for SmackDown Live not getting up at a normal time for you guys. But anyway, I'm here. I delivered. I hope you enjoyed. Hit that thumbs up if you did. And I will see you guys tonight for NXT. Tonight, Heavy Machinery on their way out of NXT. Tag team title match tonight against O'Reilly and Strong of Undisputed Era. Plus that Fatal 4-Way for the #1 contendership for the Women's Championship match at TakeOver Phoenix. I'll see you guys tonight for NXT. Hope you enjoyed the SmackDown Live review, and I'll see you for the review of NXT tonight. I'll talk to you guys later.